Okay guys, we've been having to practice with our orders of inserting the needle. I don't have a dummy hand at home, so they said we could use a banana or an orange. So BB is using a banana. We have 3 different evacuations or tubes that we use. Trust me, if I was in a clinical setting, I wouldn't be putting my hand on the table. This is what we call an evacuation set. This would be inserted in here, and I'll show you that in a moment. This is also something that they use usually for babies or the elderly who've got really, really small veins, fragile veins. This is also used at the end of a butterfly. This is what we call a butterfly. And when we have to use a butterfly and it still won't come through a tube as this, because the pressure from the vacuum would collapse the vein. So we have to use this, and then we pull it down, and as the blood comes through the tube, it will automatically push the plunger down. But before we use the plunger, we have to bring all the air out of the tube to put in there. And with that being said, if we can just use the butterfly on a small vein, and this is, the butterflies are usually a 22 to a 23. For infants, we can use up to a 25, which is, again, don't play with needles. Look at me. Wow. Very small. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but it's very, very tiny. And this is the ones that they usually use, even in a butterfly, for infants. But with us going into clinicals, we won't be able to do babies, not until after we get our license. But I wanted to show you the different needles. And like I was saying, with this one, you attach it to this. It does the same as this, just the needle is very small in diameter. This way you're not collapsing their veins. And then the tubes would also be inserted in here to draw. So let me show you what it would kind of look like if I had a human arm. And they say a banana or an orange is as close as you can get to a human skin texture. So, and the reason they wanted us to practice with this was because they didn't want us to freak out. And let me tell you, the first time I did it with banana, it was ooh. So what you do in this, the procedure for this, you go in and thread it like a needle. And then what happens is, as soon as the vein is hit this little blue thing right here, you're gonna see blood. So then you know you've got a vein. And then you would put in your tube, like so, and hold it. Wait for it to fill up, and if you had another tube, you would just change the tube over. You don't even have to hold the butterfly, it'll stay in the vein. So that's what they're telling us. So that's how that one works. And let me tell you, we were all freaking out the first time we did it with the banana. And the older the banana gets, the tougher the skin gets. And not everyone's got good skin. We're also learning that people that are out in the sun a lot may be harder to get their blood because their skin gets tough. With this particular evacuation tube, you go in a little bit like this. You don't put the needle all the way in. And if you see where my thumb and my first finger, my index finger is at, I'm holding it. So therefore it's not gonna move. And then again, You push in the tube and then the blood is supposed to come out. And they're also telling us that if, for any reason, that the blood doesn't come out, to move the tube a little bit, because sometimes it may be a vacuum situation, or if nothing's coming out and you know you're in the vein, it could be a bad tube, so you just change the tube. And usually that solves the problem. Okay. And with that being said, the syringe, you see it's very small. I'm a little nervous about using the syringe because it is so small, and the way you go in is a little bit different. It's almost like the butterfly, but if you go too close, you're going to pop it right out of the skin. So again, it's going to take practice. And then with that, if that's all you use, the syringe, then you got to take your non-dominant hand and pull it back slowly, like that. But you can't do it too slow, because then the blood will thicken and then the blood is no good. So again, it's going to take some practice, but we're supposed to learn all of this when we get to clinicals, and I'm excited, nervous but excited. Okay, if you have any questions about this, leave a comment in my box. Hey everybody, it's Phoebe. This is week 3 in my phlebotomy class. Well, I got through my modules, and as you can see, some of these are pretty thick. Each one of these sections is healthcare delivery systems and the occupations. Communication. And that talked about basic learning skills, whether people are able to communicate, not communicate, speak, not speak, and how to be a better listener to body language. So this was also part of our test. Legal and ethical responsibilities. And that's pretty well much in any healthcare or business. You have legal and ethic responsibilities. Elderly abuse, one of the major components in the healthcare system. Violence in the workplace and out of the workplace, and how to pick up signs. Disease concepts, wellness concepts. And then different tests on each one of these that we did, as I'm discussing. We did this, we did a test. And then at the end, you had a big test that covered all of what we just went over. Medical terminology, that's always fun. It can get confusing, downright nerve-wracking. Safety and security measures in the workplace. Vital signs. Computer literacy in the medical field. We also had to do a discussion forum, and that was with every module. And again, each one of the tests, and then the major test at the end of that chapter. Module 4 was almost as thick as Module 2, which was infection control, how to prevent it, how to keep you safe from bloodborne pathogens and your patients. Employable skills, basic math, military time, the difference between anatomy and physiology. Everyone assumes it's the same. It's not. Another discussion forum. And again, military time. And then again, more tests. And then the major test for that module. And then Module 5 was kind of small to look at it right here. But we had to do a 2-page report on anatomy and physiology, and then we had to turn it in to our teacher. And then at the end, like Friday, When the test opened up at 8 a.m. in the morning and closed at noon, we only had 4 hours to take the major test, which was almost 100 questions, and we had to pass it. I did it. Don't know how, but I did it. I made a 93 on it, so I passed. Then we had our other test that we had done, which was going over all of chapter 8 and 9 that we did, which is phlebotomy essentials. Some of the questions on here was the primary antiseptic used for venipuncture, which is 70% alcohol. A proper way of tying a tourniquet. Which of the following tubes must always be completely filled? One of them is a light blue one. Packages of evacuation tubes manufactured at the time are called, it's a lot. So in the ratio of certain full draws, like light blue, black, one is 9 to 1. That means 9% blood, 1% coagulations. All of this stuff we have to learn. Learning how to palpitate, which is filling for the vein. So I did all right. I made a 96. I missed a half a question because I got into a hurry. But other than that, I'm doing really good. So next week we're going to start clinicals. So I am excited and nervous all at the same time. But it's been interesting, very interesting. So if you guys have any questions or comments, leave it in the box and I'll get to them as soon as I can. So if it may not be the same day, sorry, I'm studying, but I will get to those. So until week 4, you guys have a good week. See ya.